Mr. Bowtie's Texas High School Sports Machine is driven by Henry Finley and McCombs Ford West, a proud supporter of all area local sports. McCombs Ford West, simply the best. Hey folks, Mr. Bowtie here. Keep banging home that red subscribe button on your screen so that way you can stay up to date on all the great local sports coverage that TV and radio refuse to cover. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Mr. Bowtie 1982. It's fun, it's free, and it's safe for the environment. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey folks, Greg Sherman, Mr. Bowtie here. As always, don't forget to bang home that subscribe button so that way you can stay up to date on everything that's going on around the area. By the way, if the subscribe button is here now, bang it here. You'll bang it on one of those two spots. Well, those of you that have been with the Sports Machine for a while know that during the girls basketball playoffs, I always have the legendary Joe Lombard on to talk about the playoffs and stuff. Well, we've expanded it a little bit into the world of 6A Region 4 boys soccer, and a year ago, it was San Antonio Lee winning the state championship. They won the first local boys title in 9 years and won their first state title in any team sport in nearly 50 years when Tommy Kramer led them to the 71 football state championship. David Rogers, the manager for Lee, is joining me now to talk about the region. And I know first off, David, you'd much rather be getting ready to try to defend that title at the regional level, but appreciate you stopping by anyways.
Definitely. Thanks for having me.
Well, you predicted from a neutral perspective before the tournament started, you thought the four favorites in no particular order were going to be San Antonio Reagan, San Antonio Harlan, Austin Lake Travis as three of the four favorites. And needless to say, I think you got your predictions pretty much correct. Laredo Alexander, the fourth team coming in out of the Laredo area, coming in out of the southern part of Region 4. And needless to say, it looks like we have the four best teams in the region that are going to be playing in the knockout rounds, round 4 in the quarterfinals this week at Northeast.
Sure, definitely. And, we've had a chance to see Alexander ourselves the last, 3 times that we went to the regional tournament. And, definitely it's someone that's always there. Even though they don't win their district, they seem in the playoffs kind of get it together. And, so I'm not surprised that they're there. And then Reagan will be matched up with them, obviously. And then Lake Travis with Harlan. And I think the Lake Travis Harlan game is going to be highly competitive. And I think Reagan will probably be the favorite in the Alexander game. I just think that both teams are good, but I think Reagan just has too much firepower and their defense is too solid.
Now, you've gone up against Reagan. You get them twice a year, 3 times if you play them in the knockout rounds. Reagan, I know, kind of ended Lee's dominance at the top of the district after the last few years. I've seen them a couple times this year. Is this the Reagan team that we're used to back in, let's say, 2018 when they got to the state finals, or is this a different style, or how do you compare the two?
Yeah, I thought they were very complete this year, actually. Suko being added to that group this year, a senior player that was eligible to play this year because San Antonio FC not having their spring season for that age group. I think him being added and their goalkeeper being added really put them over the edge. And then number 3, their center back is just highly impressive. Grew a lot over the off season and just a good presence on the field.
And it was so interesting to watch them in the first round against New Braunfels, who upset them last year. That match really not too competitive. They actually forced an own goal in New Braunfels. And then the last 2 rounds, not really a ton of work they've had to do against Austin Bowie or Bulverde Smithson Valley. They get Alexander, and Alexander's the one school that everybody in San Antonio hates to play, regardless of the sport. Their girls basketball team upset Melissa Smith and East Central about 4 or 5 years ago in the 4th round. And what was one of the biggest upsets in girls high school basketball history. Their baseball team always matches up with Reagan. They beat them about the same time, ended their 2-year run as state finalists. So, David, that may be a team that maybe they're not the favorites on paper, but that's the one scary team that you never want to face in anything.
Yeah, like I said, I think they're very well coached. I think they're very disciplined. Um, but I'm still going to have to go with my pick with Reagan over them. I think Reagan's too dominant this year, and I think Alexander's good. And I haven't seen them this year, but just knowing what's out there, I'll take Reagan over Alexander in the soccer scene. I think they're going to control that match, and I'd probably predict like a 3-0 or more type victory.
Austin Lake Travis is playing Harlan in the other semifinal fourth round matchup in 6A boys region number 4. Harlan, team with only, I think, 2 losses this year. And it's a team I know you were talking to me about even before the tournament started, about a team to keep your eyes on. What makes this team so good? And then how can they be able to match up with the northern part of region 4, which has been dominating the southern part of the region 4 during the last 2 years of alignment in all sports?
I think that Harlan saw Lake Travis last year, I believe, in the 4th round too, and lost 2-1, and they actually had the lead at one point, and Lake Travis came back to win that game. I think we could expect another game like that, and sometimes when you have that little revenge factor in you, it can make them pretty deadly. And I think they know they're so close last year of getting to the regional finals and possibly the state tournament. And sometimes that fuels you. I know that did us last year. And I really expect this to be probably the game of the week. They're going to be very, very similar as far as the talent level on the field. Both have great goalkeeping, good defenses. I'm giving the edge slightly to Lake Travis just because of their size. They're huge and they have a lot of returners back. But Harlan's goalkeeper has been really stingy this year, and that's the name of the game. If you can't put the ball in the back of the net, then you're always going to have a chance to win. And I think if it goes, to penalty kicks, as stingy as Harlan's goalkeeper has been, I'd probably give Harlan the edge if it goes to PK. So Lake Travis better win this game in regulation.
Speaking of Lake Travis, they've been really good in soccer. Their girls actually got upset in the second round by San Antonio Johnson, another Northeast school. Last year, you mentioned about what they did with Harlan. Of course, you guys had your hands full with them, just getting past them on that title run. For those that maybe are not as familiar with Lake Travis down here in San Antonio, as far as the football, tell us a little bit about
them. Their coach, David Bamble, is very, very well disciplined this team. They're a great possession style type of team. But they're number 23, I believe. He plays on the wings, is so lightning quick. And their number 9 striker is just phenomenal. Led them in scoring the last few years, and I believe has beaten their scoring record at the high school level. And he's an excellent player, definitely a college level type player. But if you can't shut down their number 9, then it's going to be game over. He's really physical. It took 2 of our center backs last year to do that. You basically got to have 2 players on him at all times. But I think even more deadly is their number 23 because of the speed factor.
Well, it's a good mix of region teams with Reagan and Lake Travis, probably the favorites. Harlan, a team that's building up only in their 4th year of existence. And then Laredo Alexander, the school that no one ever really takes seriously until you walk off the field, the pitch, or the stadium with a loss. David, who do you think is the favorite to win and be able to advance to Brookleback next week?
I think Lake Travis wins this region. I think Reagan has had an advantage. And well-deserved. They won the district, and I think they have had an easier route to the regional tournament. And I think Lake Travis has played a little stiffer competition, especially in this 4th round. So I'm expecting Reagan and Lake Travis in the regional final, and I think Lake Travis probably squeaks that out. But once again, Reagan has a 6'3", 6'4" type goalkeeper. They better win that thing in regulation.
Yeah, and I've seen it. Go ahead, David.
Anytime you have a goalkeeper that tall, I mean, just mar memories of 2019 when we faced it in the state final. You don't want to see a keeper that tall in penalty kicks. I'd give Reagan the edge if they end up going to penalty kicks as well. And Man, like I said, I'd like for a San Antonio favorite to get there, but Lake Travis has the majority of their players back, and I have not seen a team that tall and fast in a long time.
One other part of 6A I want to ask you about is Region 2. Rockwall Heath, I believe, is still alive. That was the team that you all beat last year after Heath made that one of the biggest Cinderella runs in UIL sports history, regardless of the sport. I know you may not be as familiar with Region 2, but they're playing their regional actually in Round Rock, where it's going to be Dallas and Houston teams playing each other. Austin doesn't even have a 6A Region 2 team to begin with. Do you see a potential advantage for whoever comes out of there just because they'll have made the trip to the Austin area, even though the Final Four is in Georgetown and not Round Rock? Do you see any advantage, or is that going to really be negated?
It helped us last year because in the state semis, we actually played there, I believe on Tuesday, then up again on, over the weekend. And I always like to play in a place of familiarity. And them playing there, I think, is a huge advantage because they're not shell shocked once they get there. And, I think it's very smart that they're able to play there.
Well, it's actually going to be at Reeves Stadium in Round Rock. So it'll be in the Austin area. I guess I meant as far as the fact they're going to take the drive to Austin and being able to play in Round Rock. Maybe if they win their Friday match, you take a drive up to Georgetown, see what it looks like, and all that.
Yeah, I don't think that's as huge an advantage because actually at Georgetown Stadium there, I don't think that's as huge an advantage, other than being close in proximity, but, reliving the vibe. But I don't see that as much of an advantage.
Get you out of here on this one. One of the other schools that you coached to a state championship back in the day, Bernie High, they won the 4A title last year, the same day that Lee won the 6A. They're still alive. Do you see them potentially having an opportunity to repeat? Because I'm sure the road's got to be at least a little bit tougher than what they faced last year.
Yeah, I think they are a team like Lake Travis. They have a lot of players coming back. And to me, something you can't beat is experience. And when you have 9 to 10 players coming back on a squad, and I believe it's 9 that they have coming back, especially the MVP from the state tournament last year. I think you have to put them in the mix. I think they're well coached, and I think he's going to do a really good job with them. And I'll be rooting for those guys and hope they do well. And I think they'll have a chance to repeat.
David Rogers, the manager of San Antonio Lee, the 2021 6A boys soccer state champions. Definitely appreciate the time. We'll see how things pan out. We'll try to get you back on next week to talk about the semis and finals, which are back on a regular schedule in Georgetown. Thanks for the time, David.
Hey, thanks for covering all sports. We appreciate it. Thank you.